Aloha, y'all. It is Thursday, February the 4th. The It's a Thursday, ruled by Thor. I'm like, what am I even trying to think? Mercury retrograde is fucking me up. So it's a yellow cosmic human guided by intelligence, according to Mayan dream spell. It is a Vishuddha chakra day, a throat chakra day. So if you haven't ever tried throat chakra chanting or working on your chakras in general, today is about the Vishuddha chakra or throat chakra. The mantras and mudras go a long way. The mantra for today is Ham. But do yourself a favor, do some research, figure it out, and see how to attune those things. You'll be glad you did. Trust me. Some people have never done it, and they're always pleasantly surprised with how holographic uh, they can get with the engineering of their own minds, bodies, and hearts through the chakras. So, the astrology right now, and it is fucking me up because that's just how Mercury retrograde goes. Sun is in Aquarius, Moon is in Scorpio, Mercury is in Aquarius retrograded, Venus is in Aquarius, Mars is in Taurus, Jupiter, Saturn are both in Aquarius, Uranus is in Taurus, Neptune's in Pisces, Pluto's in Capricorn, North Node's in Gemini. So we have the Sun and a lot of energy in Aquarius, and that is actually squaring Mars and Uranus in Taurus, but the moon is in Scorpio. So we have air and water right now being the predominant sun and moon situation. So what cards do we've got today? Judgment. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It's coming down hard. Hopefully we get through it, right? So let's go ahead and see what this is. It's a major arcana card it's the 20th card of the 22 cards. And well, actually, I guess technically the 21st card, number 20, the full card is 0. You see how it goes. But this is like 2020 was double judgment year. 2021, hopefully we're popping out to the world 21 card. So, judgment, heeding the call of a higher purpose, a resurrection, the rebirth of a new personality, forgiving yourself and others, being the visionary you were made to be. And that's very Sun in Aquarius, right? Mercury, even though it's retrograde in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, North Node in Gemini, visionary. Where do you want to go with this thing? Judgment, I am vibrantly alive and live into the god/goddess that I am. The powerful figure with their arms raised has just received the force of divine revelation. Struck by an epiphany, he is instantly transformed, transfigured into a luminous, space-age preacher. The metamorphosis is complete. An unrecognizable embodiment of spiritual revelation, his previous life wiped clean. And that transformative power is very Scorpio moon. We have the ability to transform our emotions right now with our intellect in a weird way. The rebirth is complete. He is compelled to live differently, to change everything about life at once, for there is no going back. The energy transmitted by this revelation raises the dead. The skeletons are brought back to life, alluding to the far-reaching regenerative power of revelation. We are awakened from the hypnotic quality, the spell of the habitual and restricted being and doing in life, just getting by. In an instant, we realize something fundamental must change. We recognize the lie we have been living, the story of ourselves, and the life is seen for what it is. The meanings we have carried from childhood, the assumptions we have made, the lens passed on to us through which to view life. The part of ourselves that was lost, that has been hiding or lying dormant, is revealed and must be lived out, fully expressed in the world. We are called to action. The revelation wasn't asked for, it wasn't sought, rather it was bluntly administered. Uranus rules Aquarius, and Uranus is about chaotic epiphanies, right? So this is coming to you whether you want it or not. It's coming in hot. Whether you want it or not, right? There's no choice but to act upon it. Awake to something entirely different about life, and there's a compelling new possibility. We cannot go back. Judgment is a highly charged card, not always easy to receive, and yet it carries huge significance and potency. It charges you with the task of looking into your life without hesitation to see what has been buried and unloved. It calls you to bring it to life. The life you had been living was comfortable, perhaps, but it was not the full truth of who you are and why you are here. Already you quickly recognize the recurrent themes, dynamics, and patterns of your life and have a clear picture of where you were heading. So this is very resonant to last year, right? 2020, 20th card, even though it's technically number 21 out of the 22. Like I said, 0 card is full. But 2020 was a year of judgment where we're like, oh shit, we can't do this the same way anymore on a lot of levels. And now we're kind of trying to reboot it slowly but surely. It signals a new holism. The events and patterns of your past, like the pieces of a jigsaw, have come together to form a whole complete. In a flash, all can be understood. All is forgiven. You forgive yourself. That phase is over, and you are transformed, free to live in a greater reality, a more expansive potential. Stripped clean of all the limitations, old beliefs, and experiences of the past, you can see into your own future with fresh eyes. Seeing into the future with fresh eyes, very Aquarian energy. North Node in Gemini. Judgment calls you to be the visionary for yourself. Expect change to naturally unfurl as you revision your life in a whole new way. And when we have a retrograde, Mercury is in retrograde, it's about renewal, revisioning, reassessing. Any kind of prefix word you could think of is about a retrograde. So use it to your advantage. Don't just think, your plane's going to crash or your computer's going to break. Although I was having trouble on one of my phones today, hence me going live on my page. Judgment, heeding the call of a higher purpose, a resurrection, the rebirth of a new personality, forgiving yourself and others, and being the visionary you were made to be. So from death to life, Scorpio moon, into what? This epiphany of self. And you're like, oh my God, I see where I need to go. What was once lost is now found. And he's moving towards this place of wholeness, newness, and vitality, right? So we have the capacity to do that ourselves right now. Let's get a clarifier card. Hopefully you all are doing well. I haven't yet decided if I want to play my electric guitar or sing a song on the acoustic. Any thoughts on that matter might help. Today we've got Shanine. If I can get in touch with her, she hasn't hit me up. Shanine is coming on the podcast. Shanine Mulland. And also Elliot, I think. Or no, his name is Elijah. He's actually like he has his own oracle deck for Gene Keys, but he's like Richard Rudd's like protege or something. Anyway, he seems cool. So I got the Counselor, number 12. So this is also kind of a major arcana, if you want to put it that way, in this deck. The Counselor. Am I seeing that? Oh, no, it's the 12 of Water. I was like, is that right? Let me find it. 12 of Water. Got it. All right, so the Counselor, 12 of Water. As follows: empathetic, wise, objective advice. Very Scorpio moon energy here with Aquarius sun. Trustworthy, emotional understanding, clarity, and sharing. A time of questions and mixed emotions, looking beyond the words to emotions, mixed or confused emotions. Listen, hear. Right, with all this Mercury retrograde, we might be very kind of confused at some level emotionally, even with the moon in Scorpio. Seek objective counsel, an emotionally complex situation, a lack of empathy, an opportunity for understanding, being receptive and not rejecting, our feelings preventing a resolution. Meaning, the Counselor of Water represents one who stands high, an elder, advisor, or wise man or woman whom the king or queen calls upon to discuss their feelings regarding a situation or experience of concern. She or he is someone who is trusted. They are caring, compassionate people who will listen attentively, only interrupting the flow to ask questions if there is need. Once the tale is told, the counselor offers her thoughts in an objective manner. Her role is not to give instruction, but to present alternatives and insight that will help the seeker understand the thoughts and feelings that may be clouding their judgment. With all this kind of Aquarius energy, is the high and lofty perspective mentally about what? Scorpio moon, our emotionality. The things we're attached to, the things we're obsessed with emotionally. She is an empathetic person, skilled at stepping outside of herself to look through the eyes of others. She never judges and offers only compassion and the opportunity to understand the emotions at play. By asking the right questions, she helps people to come to their own conclusions about what feels right for them and how to proceed from that point. When the counselor appears in a reading, she symbolizes a need to be empathetic and objective when dealing with emotionally complex situations. If you can, look beyond the words being spoken to see the emotions behind them. With Mercury retrograde, we might be stuttering. I have Chiron and Gemini as a Sun and Moon Gemini. I might say the wrong things at the wrong times, but ultimately, we shouldn't be looking at the words, but more the emotion behind the words. If you cannot, the counselor asks that you seek out the wisdom of someone who can. There may also be a time approaching that will require you to keep your emotions in check, especially if they are confused. If you're feeling reactive or challenged, talking it through might help you to make sense of your feelings or provide you with answers. If you act without taking this step, your mixed or confused emotions may muddy the waters further, right? So it's all about objectivity through emotion. Emotions aren't to be denied, but they're not allowed to wash over you too much like a tsunami. You want to be like, I'm aware and I'm in tune with these things, but I'm not letting them rip me up and stuff. I'm using judgment, discernment, right? Counselor is kind of like a judge of emotions, judge of the situation. So right now we're getting a very strong I mean, the Judgment card is kind of like, here comes Epiphany, let whatever's dead die and move on to the new kind of world. And with the Counselor, the 12 of water, and especially with the Scorpio moon, we're being told to do it with emotional wisdom and not just emotional reactivity, which can sometimes be the same. So let's go ahead and get Refining Galactic Lineage. This is a Galactic Heritage card. Pleiades card, number 65. So what happens with Judgment? It's a refining process. The refiner's fire, there's even gold back there. It looks like melting gold, kind of like honey. It's like, oh, we're making all the dross come out. That's how good counsel leads to better decisions, right? So 65, refinement of galactic heritage is as follows. Pleiades, refining galactic lineage, present timeline, 65. Pleiades have been involved with genetic refinement projects on Earth and other planets for thousands of years and see it as a way to be of service from a cosmic point of view. If you chose this card, then you too have most likely had this experience in other lives. This is why you have an interest in extraterrestrial consciousness in this life now. Always remember that learning about the subject is only meaningful if you see the bigger picture. And that's Aquarius. It's like learning facts is cool, but how do you apply it to wisdom, right? Genetic projects represent the greater truth that we are all one. We are one consciousness expressing itself through many bodies. There is no separation between us. The deeper meaning of this card has to do with how all of us affect the entire holographic reality through our individual evolution. When one person evolves, so does the whole. So when this person is upgrading through judgment and being like, I don't like that anymore and I won't do it, I'm going to go to a higher cause, through wisdom, through counsel, wise counsel, the whole shebang gets upgraded. It's not just, the one and the many, right? So if you upgrade the hologram, the whole hologram upgrades. Even though it seems as we are housed in separate bodies and live separate lives, this life in the physical is not really the true reality. Instead, there is only one consciousness, conscious intelligence in creation that is seeing through a multitude of eyes. If you look at the journey of integration represented by this card deck, this card represents how your choices and your growth lessons dramatically serve to refine and evolve creation itself. Seen from a galactic perspective, which is very Aquarius, a galactic perspective, when one planetary civilization evolves, so does the whole galactic family. To simplify, this concept explained above plays out in your life because every choice you make affects not only the future you, but the past you as well. Time and space are illusions. You heal the past and create the future from the present moment only. When you walk a conscious spiritual path, you affect others and thus ensure the evolution of the galactic family. If this card comes up in your reading, you are being asked to understand this concept and trust that your conscious actions made with integrity and wisdom, right, good judgment and wisdom, counsel, when your actions are done with that, ripple outward and have a greater purpose. You may not be able to see the effect, but it is important that you trust that those actions do indeed impact the greater whole. As above, so below, as within, so without. So when he's kind of upgrading and being like, oh my God, I'm going to quit cigarettes and I'm going to stop fucking, cursing or whatever he's upgrading. I don't even care about fucking cursing, obviously. As he's upgrading, that brings wisdom to see how the water has all this shimmer of light in it. That's how we're all connected almost in a holographic way. The water is, it shows the oneness of it all. I mean, those are kind of tendrils of light in the one thing, right? So ultimately, we are refining our galactic heritage with the work we're doing. Don't think the work you do on yourself is in vain. And it can sometimes be, weird. Like, it's like, oh, I just want to lose a few pounds, or, oh, I want to quit smoking, or whatever the thing might be. Oh, I want to start a better practice, or whatever. That little work on your part changes the whole, and never doubt that. So let's get an animal oracle card. We have the Jaguar. This is about release. Guys, we're being told to release some stuff for sure today. Jaguar, release. That's what this guy's doing. He's releasing his past into a new terrain through wisdom, right? That's the wise thing to do. Let the past die, that which no longer serves you die, and refine holographically, like the galactic refinement is talking about. This is number 9. Number 9. Number 9. Number 9. So, Jaguar, release. Release what you no longer need. Take action to move something from the ideas world into the physical world. Let go of the old and stale and choose renewal. Wash away the negative aspects of the past, surrender it all, and embrace the new. This is on page 42. Mythos. Ixchel, the fierce jaguar goddess of the ancient Mayan culture, was the goddess of midwifery, fertility, earth, rain, and the sacred sweat bath. Widely honored, her cult extended at one time as far as the islands off the east coast of the Yucatan Peninsula. It was she who women turned to at the time of birthing. At birthing time, the woman was oiled and flowers put into her hair. The sweat bath, solid and womb-shaped, was prepared, and the rainwater barrels gathered, ready for the purging steam rather. Prayers to Ixchel in her jaguar form were offered. The woman would enter the sweat bath for some days until her labor began. She heard the songs of her ancestors, of the tribe, of the gods, and especially of Ixchel, as it was she who granted and would aid at birth. Stories were told to fill the spirit of the woman's baby and make it strong and healthy. She would begin her labor and sweat for the release. She would then leave the sweat bath and give her birth outside. Offerings were made to the jaguar goddess to celebrate the birth. Then the mother would re-enter the stream bath to purge herself of the afterbirth and any of her toxins. She would leave the sweat bath a mother, no longer a maiden, and one day to become a grandmother. The animal. If there's one word you can describe this particular member of the genus Panthera, it is powerful. Jaguars are built powerfully, emphasizing their strength right down to their bones. They are stocky and low-slung with robust legs that can leap on and crush their prey. They are adept at swimming and can crawl silently through thick jungle. Their jaws are particularly well developed, and comparative bite force studies shows that they possess the greatest force above clouded leopards, tigers, and lions. Oh my. This enables them to literally pulverize the biggest bones of their prey. Jaguars are typically spotted, but come in a melanistic variation of black panthers. These particular panthers are only found in South America, whereas the pattern-coated jaguars are found right across Central North America, Mexico, South America, including the Amazon. African and Asian panthers are called leopards. The jaguar is the apex predator in most of its habitat, yet it is threatened by habitat loss and killing by humans. The magic. Call upon the releasing powers of the jaguar woman Ixchel when you are ready to let go of something. Whether it's an excess of something, a bad habit, a disease, or old pattern, Ixchel is a powerful discharging force. Guys, that's what this is, a powerful discharging force, judgment. And when we say that is no longer serving me, we tip into a very wise place of counsel, right, the counselor, and we refine our hologram as within, so without. And everybody upgrades through that powerful release, right, that power of the jaguar. For those who are getting ready for birth, she is a wise guide and will assist you to have an easier birth. Symbology is sweat bath, upturned water jug, woman with a jaguar ear, steam. Status of jaguars is threatened. So, it being a throat chakra day, we can verbally say, I no longer consent to this contract, or I no longer want to do this thing, or I want to move this way and I want to move that way, right? It doesn't have to be negative. It can be positively polarized in expression. And that is wisdom. The counselor is saying, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? Are you playing with toys that no longer serve you? Are you avoiding your destiny because you're afraid? Judgment's going to burn through that, right? The judgment card is going to give you the power to release which no longer serves you because you're saying, I judge that not worthy of my attention, energy, whatever, time. And then you pop in with your guides, higher self, God, angels, however you want to look at this, to counsel, and you get wisdom to what? Refine the galactic heritage, to upgrade the hologram. When you make little adjustments in your design, the whole hologram shifts. That's how it works. And that's powerful. That release can, that could do more magic than not. I think when the earth has earthquakes, that's all this tension building, and then there's a release, right? And we don't like that with our structures and cities and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, that's birth pangs like Ixchel of Gaia, growing, moving, etc. So let's get an art oracle card. Albrecht Dürer. He and I actually share birthdays and sun, moon, and risings. Gemini, Leo. He is an interesting guy. Here we go. And he's very Aquarius energy, even though he's a Gemini. This is very cutting edge, right? The painter and engraver Albrecht Dürer, who awoke German Renaissance art, was foremost a printmaker whose woodcut illustrations of a feel-good religious subject such as the apocalypse accumulated a mainstream following previously unknown in the print biz. Dürer ran with cool intellectuals and royals in his hometown of Nuremberg, but during a plague outbreak, like the bubonic plague, he allegedly pieced out to Venice, which he considered his spiritual homeland. An Italophile, Dürer, who was so inspired and motivated by his southern colleagues that in later works he forced emotion and geometric perspective down the throats of his cold Dutch countrymen. Right? So forcing things. I mean, in some ways, like, here comes the new, you ready or not? Albrecht Dürer is like, here comes perspective and, new geometric forms and new emotional kind of contemplations. He brought wisdom through counsel of art, ultimately upgrading the hologram, right? Through the release of old paradigms into new paradigms, right? So the advice we're getting from Albrecht Dürer is know your perspective, right? If you know that you're an eternal being learning through life and it's a process, it's a school, you will more likely be happy to give up that which no longer serves you, and look at it as like, you don't want to sit on the same video game level all the time and do the same fucking shit. Like, what if you never left Mario level 1 and just kept on hitting the square with the question mark for the mushrooms and the coins, but there was nothing left, right? We got to leave what no longer serves us, right? Glad you're digging it, Alexis. So we got to leave what no longer serves us, and ultimately that is a fire, a refiner's fire, as the Bible would say, right? So it's like you get. Well, the whole point there is like you take metal and you put it in a fire, and all the dross, as they say, or all the kind of impurities, burns away, and that's what judgment is. It's saying we want the wisest, best part. The wisest. That's a weird way to put it, but it's like we want the most refined part, right? And upgrading that and refining that process upgrades the whole hologram. No joke. So release that which no longer serves you. You have the power to do so, especially even in a retrograde. We have the ability to slow down mentally, and with all this Aquarius energy, we're like, is this the engineered life that I want? I'm the engineer. I'm the hacker of my reality. And what I do on my mainframe affects the whole mainframe, right? So like if Neo takes a red pill or not, that affects the whole thing. Ultimately, know your perspective. Do you feel like you're, it's funny, I'm doing Duolingo Japanese, and I'm number one always in these leagues, but I'm basically not learning much more because I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I know I'm not opening up new levels. I'm just kind of kicking ass at one level, which is selfish and stupid and not the way to do it. So it's like, do you want to just be a boss at level 1, or do you want to, like, even though it's hard and you're growing, do you want to go to level 2, level 3, right? Wisdom would say to do that. That upgrading is a refinement of the whole thing, which is a powerful release of the negative kind of polarizations and the lessons. Like, let's shed our dirty diapers as a collective. That's kind of what it is, right? So, release that which no longer serves you. You don't want to sit in your dirty diaper forever. I mean, that will not be a good look. Know your perspective, though. Know where you are. You're an eternal being going through a process, and if you don't look at it as overwhelming, we're going to be more likely to want to release things. And with the moon in Scorpio, we can go super deep. With the sun in Aquarius and Mercury in retrograde in Aquarius, we can get very into our programming. We can kind of, it's very much like a I don't really tend to do this because I don't want to fuck with it, and I've heard bad things, but it's like when you update your phone or something, updating that software allows for bugs that no longer serve to be refined and released, theoretically. I've also, found that it fucks things up, and new programs are installed, and Apple's now listening to everything, or whatever. So what we have for the stone, is Moldavite, which I know is a very powerful stone, actually from space. There's some Aquarius energy right there, right? Very, very kind of alien, and you could quantumly entangle with this, how Aquarian energy, where it's like, yo, you don't have to own this. You can just kind of absorb it, right? So, and this is so appropriate for Judgment card and all these things. Moldavite, what it is. Moldavite is a glassy, pale to dark green tektite formed by a meteorite impact around 15 million years ago in what is now Germany. Where Albrecht Dürer is from. Can't make this shit up. Sinks abound. It's trippy AF, and it's expensive. Who needs it? Spiritual seekers, extraterrestrials trapped in human bodies. How Aquarius, stellium moment right now. Ayahuasca enthusiasts, Aquarians. Can't make this shit up. Where to put it? In the middle of your forehead during meditation, altars, alien landing sites. When to use it? When you feel too grounded or disconnected from spirit. Moldavite is about operating at a higher frequency. That's really what Aquarius is about, the highest mental frequencies, right? When you are looking for more wow and whoa in your life, on the meditation cushion and beyond, explode your perceptions with Moldavite. And the advice we're getting from it says, transform your life on earth. Y'all, what is he doing? He's transforming his life on earth, right? He's like, oh my God, I guess this power from above is going to melt me, and whatever doesn't stay, doesn't stay. Transform your life on earth through wisdom, through counsel. Ask for advice. Hit me up for reading. I love giving chart readings. I love giving card readings. People are always like, this changed my life. It's the best. Not to brag, 5 stars only. But the point is, get counsel. And when you do those upgrades, whether you're doing it to yourself or getting, wisdom from friends or relatives or whatever, loved ones, strangers even, that is upgrading the whole galactic lineage. That is upgrading the hologram as such. We need to release that which no longer serves us. We need to step into knowing our perspective, ultimately knowing like this is first grade and that's high school, and I'm in middle school, I'm in transition, I want to get there, right? But Moldavite, the stone of the day, is saying transform your life on earth. And what is, Haley, my fiance, is saying she has a Moldavite ring, right? Powerful stuff. She's already very powerful manifester, Scorpio, Stellium, Virgo, Sun. Anyway, her having that ring is pretty ratchet. In fact, I'm sure a lot of the magic we have in our relationship can. How often do you wear that? I wonder out loud now. But judgment is happening, so we gotta find people we can trust, and even you can find wisdom and counsel through people you don't trust. Gollum, who is not ultimately very trustworthy, gave good, wise advice in a way to Sam and Frodo, right? He helped them get to Mordor. And ultimately, the changes we do internally change the whole thing. So release the bullshit, stepping into a power by knowing your perspective and transforming your life on Earth. I guess I'll play my electric guitar because I'm kind of in that mood. But I didn't sit up for it because I didn't know. So give me about 10 seconds and I will have this all set up. So with the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Scorpio, it's a very powerful time for transformation of the mind. Even though it's a Mercury retrograde and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Mercury retrograde. It's like there's benefits to that too. It's not all bad, let's just put it that way. It can be challenging when something's in retrograde, but I actually have all my outer planets natal. Like my birth chart has all of my outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto in retrograde. So I'm used to that kind of energy in a way. So we got the Judgment card. And we have the Counselor. So imagine you've gone to like Rafiki, right? In Lion King, and you're like, yo, what do I do? And it's like, you've got to be you're not a kid, you're a man, be the king. That's Judgment. It's like, don't fuck around anymore, Simba. Hakuna Matata was fun for a season, but you can't just stay on vacay. You got shit to do. As do we all. So that's kind of the energy with the Aquarius, Sun, the Moon, and Scorpio. Judgment card, as well as the Counselor, the 12 of Water. So oh god. Oh my gosh, this Mercury retrograde is killing me. I think I recorded it. Let me try that again. You get the idea. So, with the sun in Aquarius, with all this energy in Aquarius, we really have the ability to tap into some seriously mentally complicated epiphanies, quite frankly. Uranus is about epiphany. It's about genius. So we could tap into our genius. We don't have to be victims of life anymore, right? But in order to do that, it takes responsibility. We have to straight up release that note which no longer serves us. That's the wise thing to do. That's the counsel we need to give to ourselves. That's the counsel we need to give to others. And when we upgrade, the whole thing upgrades. So don't just think it's in vain, right? Releasing and going through judgment, the fire of judgment, allows you to become the phoenix and rise up higher and higher, right? As Albrecht Dürer is saying, know your perspective. Sometimes not doing much is the way to go. Sometimes going all in, right? You have to be the judge of that. And seeking counsel can help. Hit me up for readings. I love giving them. People love getting them. But know your perspective. Know thyself, know the world, and you shall know as above, so below, right? Moldavite is the stone. It's telling us to transform your life on earth. We're not here to be passerbys and watchers and just sit in the same lesson, repeating and looping. We've been doing that for a long time. There's always progress in a weird way because the hologram, as soon as computers came out, that upgrades the whole hologram. As soon as civil rights start happening, that upgrades the whole program. But ultimately, we need to be reaching for the fire that's coming to us, if that makes sense. The wise thing is not to avoid it. The wise thing is to integrate it, upgrade through release. Knowing who you are and knowing what you could be allows for smoother transition on that process, ultimately transforming your life on earth. You are here on earth as a vessel, experiencing psychic, electromagnetic, DNA things, as well as political, socioeconomic, all the things, right? And ultimately we have to upgrade. That's what life is. We're being judged through our actions, through our choices, through our thoughts, right? And we're ultimately judging ourselves. Are we doing the best we can? So do the best you can. I know it's hard out here and it ain't easy. I have bad days. Everybody does. But don't give up. Don't be bitter. And ultimately you ask for this, so remind yourself of that. Check out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. We had some great episodes yesterday. Today, we have potentially Shanine. I've got to talk to her, as well as a guy named Elijah who works with Richard Rudd in the Gene Keys and does his own stuff out in the Pacific Northwest. So take a look at that. Hit me up for readings, scope the podcast, and enjoy your Thursday. Bye.